Hello and good morning. If you haven't noticed already, we are living in the 21st century. Living in the modern era has its own set of social dilemmas. Our parents grew up during the war on drugs and the AIDS epidemic. Our grandparents grew up during the Cold War and civil rights movements. However, this generation is growing with a totally different and more alarming situation: gun control and the mass shootings such as Columbine. The issue of gun control first came to light after the assassination of JFK back in 1963. But the event that made it become front page news was the shooting at Columbine High School in 1999. Since then, the media and society have had this issue on their minds. And to understand the issue of gun control, you must understand what gun control means in terms of politics and legislation. Gun control is the issue to strictly regulate the sale and purchase, and even banning of some of or all types of firearms. And to understand this issue further, you must understand why this is such an issue. The reason why gun control is such an issue in politics and federal governments and state governments is because we're dealing with high rates of gun violence. At the time of the Columbine shooting, a lot of the American public didn't understand the issue of gun control, much less were thinking about it. It has seriously changed American society and also changed the agenda of American politics. As of 2020, the issue has still not left the minds of American politicians and civilians. And the reason why it has still stayed so relevant is because gun violence has still remained a pressing issue in American society. The disproportionately high rates of gun violence, such as mass shootings, suicides, and homicides, is only growing and getting worse. Another reason why the issue of gun control is still a pressing issue is because the government has made little to no effort on the federal level to pass legislation to address this issue. So it has been up to the states to pass legislation to resolve this issue. But usually it involves very weak legislation, which only leads to the continuation of the problem. But we have seen after the shooting at Columbine that we've seen a lot more student involvement than we have in the past 20 years. Ever since the shooting at Parkland, we have seen way more student involvement on both sides of the spectrum. And we have seen a lot more organizational involvement, such as the NRA and Second Amendment groups that advocate for gun rights. And also in the 20 years since Columbine, we have seen way more mass shootings and the worst rates of homicide and suicide that any developed nation has ever seen. The future does not look too bright in terms of this issue. Looking at how our current politics are right now, it seems that gun control will still be a pressing issue well into the 2020s. With our current extreme politics right now, it's not certain that we'll see any permanent or beneficial solutions that will come at the federal level or even the state level. And the effects on the American society is going to be very painfully obvious. And there hasn't been really any successful solutions to this problem in the past 25 years. The only federal level solution that was passed was back in 1998, which was the order to permanently ban the importation of more than 50 types of semi-automatic weapons. But the policy became expired back in 2004, and since then there hasn't been any more signed policies to address this issue. And not only that, the policy that was passed back in 1998 wasn't that effective in making a difference in gun crimes. We are currently living in a new age. The gun control issue is not going to disappear anytime soon, and this is something that is going to define the era that we're living in right now. We are currently experiencing history as it unfolds. And this situation, however alarming, is something that we're going to look back on and tell stories about to the next generations to come. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.